Hello, this is Objective 9 of the 2021 SANS Holiday Hack Challenge, and this one is going to be again a terminal challenge and the Objective 9 challenge, and this will involve Yara for the terminal challenge, and the Objective challenge will use Splunk. So this is a more blue team oriented objective with the terminal challenge. Let's see what we have. And before diving into the challenges, I just wanted to take a moment and appreciate the long list of achievements that we have so far. We have the curb roasting on open fire and the ho ho no one already under our belt. And looking at the objective list, we're already done 8 of the objectives. We're doing the 9th one, which is Splunk! And this is going to be an easier one compared to the previous curb roasting and Active Directory exploitation one. It's only free Christmas tree difficulty level, and it says help Angel Candy Salt solve the Splunk challenge in Santa's Great Hall. Fritzy Shortstack is in Santa's lobby and he knows a few things about Splunk. What does Santa call you when you complete the analysis and you need to submit whatever you will have at the end of the Splunk challenge? So we need to find Fritzy Shortstack, and it says it's in Santa's lobby. Now, I think this is a bit misleading. Initially, I tried to find him in the talks lobby, but this is the terminal challenge for Yara, and I remembered that the first challenge that I solved when I started playing with the Holiday Hack Challenge for 2021 was the Yara terminal, because like I said in previous videos, this is the first year that I'm attempting to play and solve the objectives, and I thought that there's no particular order or structure to solve the challenges, but apparently there is, and I just bumped into this terminal, so I said like, okay, let's see what this is about. So let's teleport to the entry of the of Santa's house, and we have Fritzy Shortstack here with the Yara analysis terminal. I'm just going to position myself so that we can see the chat bubbles. He says, "Hi, I'm Fritzy Shortstack. I was just trying to learn a bit more about Yara, which is here, this Cranberry Pi terminal. I mean, I'm not saying I'm worried about attack threats from that other next door even, but okay, I am worried. I've been thinking a bit about how malware might bypass your rules. You can help me solve the issue in this terminal and I will understand Yara so much better. So we need to get here, and I said this is more blue team oriented, but essentially what we need to do in this terminal is to bypass a series of Yara rules, but this requires understanding of Yara rules. I'll tell you what, if you have Yara, I'll give you some tips for Splunk. If you make it small changes, then you can bypass the Yara rules. We're always going to go after the fastest and easiest way to bypass these rules. All right, let's see the terminal. And it seems like it's one of the unstable ones, so let's do the usual refresh and check out the terminal again. Usually this fixes the problem. Right, seems like we have a stable terminal here. So this critical application is supposed to tell us the sweetness level of our candy, so it's a very, very important application for the manufacturing output, among other important things, but I can't get it to run. It keeps saying something Yara. Can you take a look and see if you can help get this application to bypass Sparkle Redberry's Yara scanner? I'm not sure about this whole scenario. Like maybe those Yara rules were put there for a reason, and now we're trying to bypass that someone implemented. If we can identify the rule that it's triggering, we might be able to change the program to bypass the scanner. So we have some tools on the system that might help to get us this application going. So we have Beam, Emacs, Nano, Yara, and XXD. The children will be very disappointed if their candy won't even cause a single cavity. Well, we don't want to get the children upset, so let's see what we have here. And there's the critical app with spaces. All right, and we can check what happens if we try to execute this application. This will match your rule 135, and execution is not allowed here. All right, so we have a directory here, your rules, and there's a rules.jar file here, or jar. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce the extension. And let me just take a look at my notes here. So first thing is to figure out like how can we search in this rules file. And if you take a quick look at it, you see that each of the rules will have the identifier here, and then the rule starts here. So we're looking for rule 135. We can do something lazy like wrapping for that number and then print out some of the lines following after our match. For example, like this. And we have here a couple hits that are not related to our initial search, but here you can see the first match has the entirety of this Yara rule. So it's looking good. And what this does, it checks the hash value. Sorry, that's just a meta part. Sorry, it doesn't check the hash value. It checks for a string, and that's the only condition here. Right, so this should be fairly easy to swap within the binary. Wonder if I can do like was it candy cane? Okay, just to check if this is really something that is present in the terminal is being flaky again. Let's try to restart it. I think because this is the last day to submit the write-ups, probably a lot of folks are attempting to get their write-ups. So if we do strings against the line here maybe, and grep for what was it, candy cane? Okay, so this is present inside the file. What we can do is just replace this string in the file. Multiple ways to do this. I chose an old school Perl method to do the replacement. You can probably just do it with a set. Now that I look at it, I think this was the first thing that I found as a solution, and I was happy with it. So I'm going to replace candy cane to candy lane. So one single character. Like I said, we're going for the easiest method possible. And after that, we can try to execute this program again, which still won't execute, but now it's a hit by a different Yara rule. So we're going to do the same thing as before. Rules, I think. What was the name of the directory? Yara rules, okay. Our rules, and was the rule number. Yeah, I think because I cleared the terminal, we don't see it anymore. I don't want to execute the the binary again, but I do have it in the notes that it was this rule matching, and this rule says that any of these byte sequences, if they match at any of them, then we are going to fire up this rule. And these are in hex, so we need to transform this. Probably the easiest one is just to do cyber chef. So I'm just going to go after cyber chef here and do a quick conversion. Get this one, and I'm gonna do from hex. So libc SO6 is one, or this one here, and I can't remember. I figured out that just doing the second one is sufficient. So what I'm going to do here is instead of, this is probably program, but program exclamation mark, what I did was going back and replace one of the exclamation marks with a question mark. So the idea is very simple. Again, we're just going to make sure it will not match. I think what I did was probably I grabbed for the library name and I couldn't find it. So this one is the only one that we need to fix. And again, if I try to execute the application, now it's yet another Yara rule being triggered. If I try to do it like this, so Yara rules, so I don't have to change directories all the time. We're going to take a look at this one, and this is a fairly complex one. All of these things you will find it. Some of them we already fixed. So I think the program one is fixed, and probably we also fixed with the candy lane swap some other things. This is a false flag here, but again, if you want to just modify one single thing, the part here, the last condition for the file size limitation is probably the best, the easiest way to bypass this rule. At least this is what I did. So what I'm going to do to modify the file and bypass this, I'm just going to add a bunch of new line characters at the very end. So I'm creating a for loop here, and I increase the file size without really affecting the functionality of the application above the limit that we had for this Yara rule. So this will take a couple seconds to finish, and we will see that the file size of this is going to be now just a little bit over this 50 kilobyte size limitation. So normally, because this file exceeds it, this rule will not even trigger, because we're going to ignore this file. So if all went well, this shouldn't be blocked by any of the Yara rules. Machine is running. Toy level, very merry Terry, naughty nice. Blockchain assessment, untempered, that's very good. Blockchains shouldn't be tampered with. And then we have the elf joyless quotient here, and we got the achievement. So that's all for this terminal. Fairly easy. This is one of the easiest challenges. Probably this is why it's near the entrance, so if someone bumps in, they will be able to solve this one fairly quickly. And it teaches you a great deal on Yara rules and how to do bypasses against antivirus. So we have here Yara analysis, and we can talk to Ritzy, who's going to give us the hints for Splunk. So thanks, you figured it out. Let me tell you what I know about Splunk. You know, Splunk recently added support new data sources including Sysmon for Linux and GitHub. GitHub audit log and webhook, git commands, git add status, and so on. You can also see clone GitHub projects, where repositories are also there. Sysmon provides a lot of valuable data. Network events don't real process parent ID. Fortunately, you can pivot and check the process ID with process creation events. Sometimes Sysmon data collection is awkward. Piping multiple commands generates multiple Sysmon events, for example. There are multiple versions of netcat command. So these are all hints that we can use when we do the Splunk challenge, just like with the previous ones. Let's see where we have these. And it's getting pretty crowded in the hint section. Navigating is sort of challenging after a while. So Sysmon monitoring and Splunk malicious netcat. I think these are the ones. So here we have the hint telling you that there's an OpenBSD flavor of netcat. That's the one that pen testers like because, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that allows you to shove a shell into netcat. Then we have Sysmon monitoring in Splunk. This has one important hint that we will use later. And initially, that task for the Splunk challenge was something that I didn't really get. And I'll tell you how I bypassed that one, but I will also show you here the solution, the actual solution for that problem, and explain what was the deal there. And then GitHub monitoring in Splunk. We're going to see a couple of GitHub related events in the Splunk challenge. All right, so we have all what we wanted to get out of this terminal challenge. Let's see where we need to go to do the Splunk one. And it's in Santa's Great Hall. Right, so let's go to Santa's office. Dining room. I'm not sure which one is supposed to be the Great Hall. I'm just going to go with Santa's office. No, that's where we've been. What is the Great Room then? Yeah, so that's the one. And we have here Angel Candy Salt. We're going to talk to this elf now. Greetings, Northport visitor. I'm Angel Candy Salt. An euphemism? No, that's my name. Why do people ask me that? That's hilarious. Anywho, back at the Splunk terminal again this year. There's always more to learn. Take a look and see what you can find this year with who knows what's going on next door. It never hurts to sharpen your SIEM skills, and that's all we get. Let me just close the Cyber Chef window here. And if we click on the Splunk terminal, it takes us to different site, and it has a list of to-dos here. Your goal is to complete 8 tasks below. When you complete the final task, you will see a special message to paste into your KringoCon badge. Eddie McJingles was a key DevOps engineer in Santa's Norco partner program, but he left suddenly. Your job is to document Eddie's project. To complete this challenge, you need to search in Splunk, maybe a few places on the internet. To access Splunk search interface, just click on the search link, and there's a link to just open this one to get to the Splunk instance, and we'll be able to perform searches. But they also have a couple of predefined searches, and that makes this objective and solving this objective very easy. So there's in the link in the navigation bar, left hand. Not sure which one they mean, but fine. The whole challenge is actually a Splunk application, I believe. So navigating in there is pretty easy. And then new to Splunk, check out the simple search links provided. That's going to be our go-to place as well. This challenge is designed for a laptop or desktop computer with a screen width 1600 pixels or more. That's great. This is my pixel size for this fairly old screen that I have. Warning, this is a defensive challenge not to attack the system. Splunk apps, backend APIs, thank you. Alright, so let's get started. This is our to-do list, and I think they just meant that we can just jump quickly to parts of this Splunk instance. And we have our first task here. I'm just going to navigate there with my notes, and capture the commands Eddie ran most often, starting with git, looking only at his process launches and reported by system record the most common git related command line Eddie seemed to use. Now I can't remember exactly which one I used, but it's talking about process launches, process creation. So we can take a look at here in the list, and there's all events, process creation, network connections, stats, and sort commands to find most least common value of the field, GitHub audit events, and GitHub webhook events. Now this is a Sysmon one talking about process creations. I would jump here and use this as a base, and we're looking at event code one for process creation events in Sysmon, and we need to focus on Eddie. Now there should be some sort of user field here in this big vast ocean of users, and there is one indeed. You see also Eddie here. Now I'm not super great with Splunk, so I wonder if I click this, does it add? Okay, this adds user Eddie. Well, Splunk is very intuitive and easy to navigate. Maybe instead of a list though, I might want to have a table view. This looks a lot more interesting, and we would like to get most common Git related command line that Eddie used. So there's also this other, oh, maybe I should have just started with this one. There's other, yeah, this other search actually just gives us straight off the bat the solution. So I forgot that this is the query that was built. So this one has user ID. You can also build the same thing. So stats will create this least frequent, most frequent kind of count by aggregation, which is not really. So this is statistics in Splunk, but if you are coming from maybe from Elastic Land, that it's like an aggregation or a count by in case of SQL. And then we just want to sort this to the most frequent one. I think that was the question, which is the first Git related. So not the Docker PS one, but the Git status one, I believe. Well, let's see if it's good. All right, fantastic. Test 1 is complete. 7 more to go. Test 2, looking through the Git commands that you ran, determine the remote repository that you configured as the origin for the partner API repo, the correct one. All right, so we can take a step back and look for, just thinking about like process configured partner API repo. I try to recreate what I had. I think there are multiple ways to do this. At first, I can just probably, I wonder if I can do an actual search instead of searching here. So this is not exactly whoa, this is a big block here. Not exactly an easy way to search here. There's some highlights here. Probably the way you want to do this, and that would be the proper way, is to use the command line and do a search, like a wildcard on this. And what was the question again? Looking to determine the remote repository. So we need to find the repository name. So there is this is the HTTP one, this is the Git one, so we needed that. I think. Yeah, okay, so that's the correct one. So I just did a filter here for the partner API term in the field that we already have the statistics by, and that was the way I managed to find this one. You can probably do another search here instead of doing the statistics one, but this is the query that I already had here, so I guess I just use that one. let's see, task 3, the partner API project that Eddie worked on uses Docker. Gather the full Docker command line that Eddie used to start the partner API project. All right. So here the idea is the same. I was kind of lazy. I just did Docker. To start the partner API. So we can have Docker compose up and Docker ES. And I'm not sure. Yeah, Docker PS doesn't start it up, so it's a Docker compose up command. So if Docker compose is here, then it's definitely, and nothing else actually starts the container, so it's cool. All right, task 4, Eddie had been testing automated static application GitHub vulnerability reports. So I think in this case we're going to have to use the I'm not sure if it's the webhook or the audit log ones. Let me cheat a little. Yeah, I'm not sure. So oh yeah, so it's the GitHub webhooks query then includes detailed vulnerability alerts. Yeah, this is probably the one because we're talking here about vulnerability reports and webhooks. Search all the events in the main index in Splunk and use the source type field to locate these reports. Determine the name of the vulnerable GitHub repository that the else cloned for testing documented here. Inspect the repository name field in Splunk. So there should be a repository name field for this search. And we only have 2 repository names. If we jump here in the quick view, partner API is probably not the one. We also have here DVWS, which is the damn vulnerable web security. I'm not sure. For web service probably. Yeah, that's probably a web service one. It's definitely not the damn vulnerable web application, but it's probably a similar kind of project. So this looks promising. Let's try to submit this. Right? Excellent. We have half of the tasks already done. Then I asked Eddie to add a JavaScript library from npm to the partner API project, determine the name of the library and record it here for our workshop documentation. All right, so in this case, we probably have to start again and see the commands that were issued by Eddie. I'm just going to use this one probably. They said npm project, right? Yeah, so let's search for this one. And we have npm installed. Holiday utils.js looks pretty promising here. What else we got? Yeah, I think it's this one. Indeed. Now, task 6, another elf started gathering a baseline of the network activity they generated. Start with their search, right? So I guess we're just gonna start with this one. I think this is probably the same as the network connection one. And we are looking for the process name field for anything that looks suspicious. Okay, that's a little bit vague. But we'll see what we have here. So this is their initial search query. We're looking at network events because this is event ID 3, and then user ID, not these IP addresses, and stats count by destination IP, destination port. All right, so we have here 2 IP addresses. I think in this case the easiest is just to pivot from this one and maybe see instead of stats just the details. So and also doing a filtering. Let's try to do it like this. I'm going to Can I just quickly jump and do a new search? But not with this one. I'm going to take that part without the stats and just piece it together like this. Right. Do table view. And I forget what we're looking at currently. But this doesn't look much. There's nothing in the command line part. So what was the other IP address? Let me swap that one to this one. I'm recording this early January. These Christmas songs are so weird. Alright, so this one looks rather suspicious though for the process name. What was the previous one? So that was just Git. And this one seems like netget. So yeah, that's not that great. Alright, task complete. Oh, this documentation exercise just turned into an investigation starting with the process identified in the previous task. Look for additional suspicious command launches by the same parent process. One thing to know about these system events is that network connection events don't indicate the parent process ID, but process creation events do determine the number of files that were accessed by the related process and recorded here. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I solved this Splunk challenge, I just wanted to get it done. I think it was quite late. I was lazy, I was tired, and I said, well, I don't understand what they exactly want me to do here. And I figured, well, they just want me to do a number here, to just put a number here in the field. It's probably smaller than 10, and I just started brute forcing it until I got the right solution. So sometimes you can beat the game, but sometimes taking a step back and just reviewing what the question is can help. So before starting this video, I decided, okay, I'm going to take another crack at it, read what they described here, and okay, now with a fresh mind, I managed to understand that what you need to do here really, let's go with this part here, is to first off we need the process ID here, which is not displayed. So I think here it's not process ID. There is a process ID field. Let's see if this one gives me what I want. Okay, good. I think there's also a PID field or something like that. We have the process ID here, and the problem here is that we're looking at network events. We don't have a parent process ID here, but I can pivot on the process ID and I can perform a new search across all the indices or indexes. I'm never really certain which one is the right term. And with this, we'll be able to see the parent process ID as well. And I totally forgot what was the question here. Oh, the number of files that were accessed. Okay, so we have the parent process ID here. We can do another pivot on this one, which will get us 2 events, and we do see here the number of files touched by the attackers, or all the files. So they're getting the credentials here. That's 1, authorized keys 2, config 3, AD for the SSH. That's 4, 5, 6. So the number of files accessed is 6. Yay! So actually it wasn't that hard, but if you're tired, then make sure that you get rested, and then you will be able to solve even the toughest challenges. All right, last task for this one is Splunk and system process creation data. We need to use that to identify the name of the bash script that accessed the sensitive files and likely transmitted them to a remote IP address. All right, let me just take a quick look at my notes here. And what was the thing that I did here? Okay, I think we might have already the solution. If not, then we just again go and see, for example, the process ID for this one, and see what else we can find out with this. Just looking at the ways to Probably there's no easy way to do this, so let's do it like this. I could just modify this. Probably this is even easier. So 7688 and this is bin bash. Right. So I'm just following the parent process IDs here. I think this is what I had to do. And there it is. Actually, yes, this is the command line here, I think. So this is the pre-install one. Install.sh is the name of the bash script. So I just followed back the process creation events, and that's it. Thank you for helping Santa complete this investigation. Santa says you're a whiz. So we need to go back here to Splunk one. And I think this is just the word that we need to submit here. Perfect. So we have the achievement unlocked. We have now Yara analysis and Splunk. Let's see. Yay, you did it. We can jump around, be very, very happy with our achievement. All right, so this was all for challenge 9. This was an easier one. I can't remember. I think this was 3 Christmas trees. There's gonna be one, I think, challenge 11 that is only 2 Christmas trees. It's more of a fun challenge than a really tough one. But before doing the objective 11, we need to address objective 10. So it's gonna be in the next video. Hope to see you there in the objective 10 video.